Hi everybody, let's talk some more about the yard design in Chillicothe. So let me zoom out again here a little bit. This is the depot, B&O Freight House. Obviously the Roundhouse and Turntable. Roundhouse when it was at its full size. Later on it was cut down to 3 stalls. Only these 3 stalls were left in the 80s. Here's the yard, and this is Watt Street, and on way down there, if I can zoom out a little bit more, this is actually the warehouse that I switch on ITT Grinnell. This is the building with the domed roof, and this is General Chemical right here. And beyond that, it's farmland. None of that had been developed yet. Wherever hadn't been built yet, evidently, and the ballparks hadn't been built. This is Douglas Avenue right here. Okay. So one of my friends asked me, he said, hey, if you're going to put a yard in, make sure you include a caboose track. So I didn't know where the caboose track was. I asked the B&O Ohio division has a Facebook group and has some ex-railroaders on it. But of course, it's now approaching 40 years since this line has been torn up. So there's not, a lot of ex-railroaders still around that are knowledgeable about it. But anyhow, one of them said that the caboose track was on, this is Rose Street right here, dead ends into the yard. The caboose track was on the yard, the track's closest to Rose Street. And if I zoom in here, well, I zoomed a little bit too far, but I can scroll up. These are obviously cupola cabooses. Now, later on, in my era, the B&O had mostly bay window cabooses. But in this time period, they had a lot of red cupola cabooses. There's a bunch here. So that would make sense that that was the caboose track in this era. I have a feeling the caboose track might have moved around over time. Now, I know this picture was taken between World War II and 1960 because the freight station here was torn down around 1960 to make room for the Main Street overpass. And if you look right here, these are F units. These are diesels right here. And here's the diesel fueling tank over here. So I'm pretty sure this between 1945 and 1960 is the era of this picture. The coaling station is still there. I don't see any steam engines in this picture. I'm not saying that there aren't any, I just don't see any, not clearly anyhow. This could be one right here, not sure. So the caboose track was there during that period. Now, if I scroll back up again, now Dwight Jones has the book, he's the expert on B&O cabooses. Has all kinds of archives, records, blueprints, written several books about it. On the cover, back cover of the book I bought, which I won't show you because it's a copyright picture, and I don't think I should show this. This picture's so old, no one has any photo credit on it. I don't know who actually owns the photo. And it was online. So in Dwight Jones' book, a guy was standing right here and took a picture, and the caboose track is behind these big buildings, curves around. It's very obvious because these buildings, this building has a ton of roof vents on it. And you can see it in the background. So the guy was not looking, he was not looking this way. He was standing back here by the shops and looking down. So at that time, and that picture was taken, I'm dating it. It doesn't have a date on it, but the B&O started painting blue cabooses with yellow ends for pool in 1965. And there were several blue cabooses with yellow ends in 1965. And I guess they went to the all blue scheme in 1970, and I didn't see any all blue ends, but not that there weren't any, but I just saying, so that picture is after 1965 and his. At that time, the caboose track was back here. And I'm going to show you a picture in a few minutes that was posted in response to my query, and I'll show you where the Caboose track was. And this was supposedly during the 70s and the 80s before the line was abandoned. So my friend Aaron Coyen posted this picture. It was actually taken by Dave. I don't know if it's Dupler or Dupler. Not sure. I apologize. I don't know him, obviously. At this time, the cabooses were kept right in front of the yard office. My yard office is actually behind these cabooses. It's sort of where they park the local train now at night. And you can see even more cabooses on the other side of Douglas Avenue. We're looking west toward the depot and everything. This is actually the area that I model. So I'll take a picture of my layout and show you where this would be in relationship to my layout if I actually use this. So this is where the cabooses were parked in the area that I model. Obviously, I only modeled 2 tracks, so I can't park the cabooses there. I'm going to have to keep them down in the yard. If I had known this is a caboose track, maybe I would have put 3 tracks in here. But as you can see in the previous photo and the photo coming up, there are more tracks through here than I modeled. I just modeled 2. Again, hindsight being 20/20. Maybe I should have put 3 or 4 tracks and reduced the size of some of the buildings or something when I made this. So I can't make that the caboose track. So the caboose track is probably going to be in the yard, in one of the yard tracks close to Rose Street where it was, and the picture of the Roundhouse. Let's move on and talk about the Roundhouse for a minute. First, we'll talk about the design of the Roundhouse, then we'll talk about the location of the Roundhouse on my layout. So it looks to me this Roundhouse has a completely flat roof. I have not been able to find one like that. Now this back curved part is not going to be seen at all. Those windows not going to be seen at all because that's going to be facing the back of the layout. Now when they tore down every stall except for the last 3 here, I'm sure that they did not make some fancy ornate brick wall like they probably had along here. They probably just put plywood or something up here to fill this in. I'm looking for pictures of that. I'm trying to search. When I was there, it was still there, and I took pictures of the front of it. I never went around the back. Again, if digital cameras had existed, I would have documented everything in here, but they didn't. And I didn't document everything in there. So this is probably just going to be some ugly, unsightly, black painted wall here on the edge of those 3 stalls. But the problem I have is because I said this looks like a flat roof. So I've been looking for, there's not that many roundhouses out there available in N-scale. And somebody suggested the Atlas Roundhouse, and actually probably is the best match. But the problem with the Atlas Roundhouse is the roof is like this. So this is the front. Turntable would be out here, and it's got the roof steps up, and it's got some windows here. And the Roundhouse I'm modeling does not do that. So what I think I'm going to do is kit bash it. I'm going to cut this off straight all the way across here and just have a flat roof on it. I don't know that the roof was flat. I'd say it probably had some slope to it, you know, maybe backwards, so the water would run off of it. But this is by far the best picture I've got of it. So I may make it slightly sloped downward. Again, if this is essentially this wall, it's not going to be seen. And then the other wall, like this, it has a building coming out of it. So the main reason I wanted to buy the kit, and I got a pretty good deal, and it was $30-some, something like that, was for the footprint of it. You know, I can't imagine scratch building a roundhouse with all the weird angles and stuff. So I am going to use this, but I'm going to have to extensively modify it quite a bit. So now let's talk about the location on the layout. I sort of envisioned it like this, but that's not going to work because the turntable needs to be right here. So it's actually going to have to swivel around more. And I can't put it like that, just simply because, okay, I need more space out here for the turntable. So if I put it around like this, and then I can have the turntable out here. And I can have some, like I said, the back is not going to be seen at all. This is going to be the wall where they tore it down. It will just have like concrete slab here. So I might actually move it this way a little bit more. I don't know. I need to be able to hide that track a little bit back there, but I was hoping I could just, to be honest with you, I was hoping I could just do this. And it would be a perfect curve for that, but that's obviously not going to work. I'm not going to build the layout out all the way out here for a turntable and stuff. So it's going to have to be more like this. Turntable in here, and then the engine tracks and the surfacing would be, I'll just move the camera down. Oh, sorry about that. So the servicing tracks, diesel would be in here, and I'll move the camera all the way down because I haven't done anything lately. So yard's going to be in here, and caboose track will be like along here, and there'll be a track coming on down one of the yard tracks, or there'll be a siding coming off of here going into the engine facility is probably what's going to happen. Need to order some turnouts to figure all that out. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to be working on kit bashing the Roundhouse to make it look like, make it look more similar. So I'll share that. It's not going to be a step-by-step. It's not going to be a standard elevator thing, but I'll show you my progress on it as I get it done. And I still need to figure out, where to put standard elevator when I get done. So anyhow, that's where I'm at. Just more thoughts, not a whole lot of progress at this point, but I'm the type of person that I try to do a lot of research. I don't know if it's the Japanese influence, Toyota believes in, very thorough planning before they do anything. They're not the most innovative company in the world in that aspect. They try to take other people's ideas and perfect them rather than come up with ideas on their own is sort of the reputation. And so I tend to do a lot of planning and research. I used to build houses for a while, and they say, measure twice, cut once. so I'm trying to do that. Hope you found it interesting, and I will keep you posted as I go.